These are the Syrians, huh? And Iranians are there helping them. And they're actually filming their own war crimes. I mean, the people that they're shooting at here, these quote-unquote terrorists, it's absolutely amazing. I mean, these are people who suffered under the Assad regime for years and years and years, and finally decided that they were better off to fight and run. I imagine what happened, and I'm sure I'm right, is they ran all the police, all of Assad's men, all of his thugs, out of Ghouta, however you pronounce it, and other areas. I mean, it's at one point before the Russians came in to help Assad. Most of Syria ran Assad's thugs out of their neighborhoods, and even though they were suffering really badly, because they were surrounded and there was no food, water, electricity, anything, they felt like they were better off than under the regime. And obviously that's because of years and years and years of experiencing that regime, right? Having their mothers or their fathers or their brothers and sisters dragged off in the middle of the night, tortured in prisons, and sometimes just hanged, arbitrarily hanged, or murdered. So, at some point, try and put yourself in their shoes. And they're all terrorists. They're all terrorists for saying, no, we've had enough of the murders and the beatings and the tortures, right? It's absolutely amazing. And let me tell you something. These people are not religious fanatics. If anything, if any of them are, they're being driven to it by immense, I mean, you know how, like, when people are about to die, they'll suddenly find God? Well, the same thing happens in oppressive situations. Religions will thrive. But these people are amazing. I've been watching and reading about all the all the solutions they've come up to. They make their own solar panels. They have become the ultimate in, what do you call it, like recycling. They've been growing mushrooms to live on. And now what Assad's done is he's taken away what little bit of farmland they have around the city, and now he's just out and out murdering them all. I mean, these people don't have the weaponry to defend themselves against this kind of non-stop attacks. So basically, that little area you just saw, they're just killing everybody off. It's a genocide. I mean, well, it's not a genocide. Well, it's a little genocide that's part of a bigger genocide. And by the way, all of you fucking progressives like me who don't understand what's going on here, and I'm not saying send in American troops, but for God's sake, stop calling this genocide a conspiracy theory. Stop saying that, oh yeah, they bombed themselves so that they can say, yeah, they're all just shooting at themselves. You got the guy right there, and you've got the video right here. This is Press TV. This is Iranian TV. They're documenting it themselves, this atrocity. And, Jimmy Dore, wake the fuck up, okay? I'm not saying that I want American troops to pour in. I mean, somebody should pour in. I mean, these people need air cover. They need a no-fly zone. I know you hate Hillary, and she wants a no. She wanted a no-fly zone. Well, even the devil is right about some things. Uh, and somebody needs to save these people. They aren't terrorists. They haven't until they suffered this. They never. I mean, they're not like organized sending people to foreign countries. The people in the foreign countries, the refugees, a few of them have just gone nuts, and but they're not like planning 9/11 or anything like that. What they do is simply a reaction. You stop this, and the terrorism goes away. You know, the pulse shooter, all these people, they wouldn't be doing uh, terrorist attacks here in the United States if if this kind of stuff wasn't going on. Uh, and yeah, they're misguided, and the United States isn't uh, doing this to them, but the United States is doing this to them in a way, because if we're attacking ISIS all over the place, which are Syrians, then we're knocking down the people who are standing up to Assad, right? Now you can jump up and down about ISIS, and you can why do we hate ISIS? Well, because we invaded Iraq under false pretenses, right? And that gave rise to Al Qaeda in Iraq, right? Well, Al Qaeda in Iraq is ISIS, right? I mean, basically, they overflowed into Syria to escape the American forces. And they were in Syria, and they almost knocked off Assad before Assad got his ass bailed out. This is crazy, you know? And this enormous uh, effort, this propaganda effort that Europeans and Americans, Canadians, Australians, and white people basically are doing against Islam, it's just a way of generating support. But then in the end, we end up supporting this. Now, we have to find a way to accept the fact that there's a war going on between the poor and the rich and the poor, the haves and the have-nots. And we've got to stop allowing our media to convince our people that the rich are right. Because that's what's going on everywhere. In Syria, what's going on is Assad and his haves are trying to take back all the areas that the have-nots took away from them, took back for themselves. I mean, this is very much a we the people kind of thing. Nobody wants to admit it, but the fact is that these are our George Washingtons, and these are people trying to escape tyranny, just like we tried to escape the tyranny of the English. All these things are very far removed from our minds. I understand that, and therefore hard to grasp. And our propaganda machine wants to make it all seem like they're a bunch of evil, la 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 la, you know, and sure, in every country the poor are kind of ugly and dirty and everything like that. But guess what? So were a lot of Americans who rose up against the British, and they still are. People out in the hillbillies and rednecks, and they're all very, uh, to most average Americans, they're very uh, nasty, I guess, whatever. So, have a heart, because the way you get people to stop being nasty and dirty and smelly is to give them what they need and to educate them. And these people need to be out from under the Assad regime. Even with all the horror, their last few years since they pushed the thugs out have been a paradise for them compared to what they were experienced under the Assad regime. So, while I would love to see some army step in for them with anti-aircraft that would keep the Russians and the Syrian Air Force off their backs and really just fuck up Assad. I understand Americans don't want to get into this, at least my Americans, progressives, and I respect that. But at the same time, don't go to the lengths of saying, well, it's not happening, just so that you can keep your children safe. Keep your children from being in the army and going there and fighting for people who you apparently don't like for some reason. And by the way, these Iranians have learned this, calling everybody who they want to kill terrorists, from the United States and Europe and us. That's what we do. Every time we don't like somebody who stands up to us and we decide to send in, bomb them and kill them and arrest them, or pay some other country to do it for us, like pay Iraqi thugs to attack, people who are standing up to the United States there. And then in our news media, we convince millions of Americans, I'm sure, that they're terrorists, because they're fighting back. This is an American thing that the Iranians have learned, and the Syrians have learned, and everywhere. I mean, in Colombia they call the FARC terrorists, and ELN, and everywhere they call them terrorists. And all they are is oppressed people who are fighting back. And we need to help these people. We need to stop allowing our governments are the terrorists in this case. Syria right now is the terrorist, not the people they're calling terrorists. It's the other way around. And this is always the way with conservatives and oppressive conservative regimes, is they always double down, right? So somebody says, well, you're committing war crimes, and so you say, no, we're killing terrorists, and then they start killing more terrorists. They're not terrorists. They're just, these are rebels. These are people standing up to oppression, to evil. If you want to speak of it in religious terms, you can speak of it politically, or you can speak of it religiously. And these people are evil. Just like in the United States, conservatives are evil. And let's just watch a little more of this evil, because I don't want you to have to watch this whole clip. I just want you to see the parts that benefit my segment here, because this is just really, really evil shit, what they're doing here. I mean, understand, people who would just like to be left alone and farm their lands and make a living are being, these are pictures of them being murdered. Okay, you can't see it because they're in these houses that are being bombed and blown up, but that's exactly what's happening. And they have, listen to the glee in their voice. They just love this one-sided. I mean, I'm sure the people, the terrorists, are trying to fight back, but they love this one-sided slaughter. It's like somebody, you know, standing over fish in a barrel and laughing at the fish. But these are people, not fish. And this guy is just a pig who's talking.
Increasingly, in order to advance forward.
So there's your terrorist. I mean, this pig shit motherfucker. That's your guy who, Jimmy Dore and others. That's what you support, and this is what you support. I love you, Jimmy. You're great in most ways, but hey, you have really screwed the pooch on this one. I mean, my guess is this guy isn't even a reporter. He's actually fighting, or very close to, like a embedded military guy. I mean, you look at him and you can tell he's killed people, and he's probably participating in this when he's not filming, because you don't get this close to the action without actually being, a fighter. So this is a fuckhead for sure. Right there, getting picture of the actual slaughter. So obviously these people don't even have ATGMs, anti-tank. I don't know what it stands for, but that's what stopped the Assad regime from killing all these people for all these years. Was we sold a whole bunch of the anti-tank missiles, like the TOW type missiles, so that people could carry, and it kept them out of here. And obviously they've run out, and then the armored vehicles can move in and just wipe people out. There's bodies under all these buildings, I guarantee you. And when they talk about how many have been killed, those people don't even get counted. Probably ever.
Here, the army personnel are giving signs of victory.
Look at this. I can't even tell you how much this disgusts me. These murderers all slapping each other on the back. Huh? And one more time for the Americans who somehow find the way to be at peace with all this. Well, there's no peace. You know, by accepting this, you're becoming as evil as they are. And you know, I understand human beings seem to have this place in their heart for hatred, and they want to just uh, be comfortable with all this because they want to somehow live with the hatred in their heart. Well, it'll come back on you. There is such a thing as karma.